welcome back to my channel. This week I'm going to be experimenting with doing a 7-day meal prep. I haven't never done this before, and I've kind of poo-pooed people in the past who have done this. I don't mind cooking, I actually love cooking. The problem is, on a daily basis, I'm ruled by what I feel like eating, which is not always what I should be. So I thought I'd give it a go to do 7 days of meal prep, and I'll take you along with me. I'll show you all the things that I'm planning to eat and how I'm going to prep them. The main goals is to reach my protein target of 120 grams a day. And no, I have no idea what that is in imperial measurements because I live in Australia, but I will try and put it up here so you don't have to convert it yourself. So come along for the ride, and if you'd like to join me on this, please do let me know. Send me a message or put a comment, and we'll do this together. Okay, let's get into it. Let's start off with one of these yummy yogurt bowls. This is my kind of desserty go-to. I have it for breakfast or lunch. I'm using a high protein yogurt here, and to bump up the protein even more, I'm adding some protein powder, and I'll give it a really good mix. If you still find it's a little bit thick, you can add some water to it as well. Did you see that? Magic. See how the bowl's all clean inside now? I may or may not have licked my fingers to make that happen. Now I'm adding some organic frozen raspberries. I kind of change it up between raspberries and blueberries at this time of the year. In the summer, there's a whole lot more fresh berries that are on offer. I'm adding some seed mix here as well. I just mix up sunflower, pumpkin, flax, sesame seed and poppy seeds. And that's to get a little bit more fiber. And then for a little bit of decadence, cacao nibs. And I think it kind of looks very inviting. What do you think? Let's eat. I plan to also have eggs in some shape or form every day. So I decided to boil some eggs, and I'm sure I don't need to tell you how to do that. For the days when I don't have time to cook eggs. So if I'm in Melbourne all day or I'm out and about, we're planning a hike this weekend, which will take up most of the day, so maybe I'll use them then. But always to just have some eggs there that I can grab on the go, put in a container with some kind of salad to take on the road. So that is my next lot of meal prep. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is cut up some crudities so that I can have them on hand. I'm going to make a tuna and bean dip to go with it, but let's cut the crudities up and have a chat at the same time. So one of the things that I think is a little bit different to say a lot of the meal prep stuff that I see online, that is mainly by younger people, which I don't have a problem with younger people, but when you're in midlife, you're usually looking after someone else at the same time, whether it's a partner, kids, elderly parents, and not everyone tends to eat the same thing. For instance, my husband, he's a strength coach. He runs his own powerlifting gym. He needs a whole lot more food than what I do. And then my 15-year-old son, I'll show you so you can see it chopping. He also needs a bit more food than me, but he has allergies. He's allergic to all nuts except almonds for some strange reason. He's allergic to sesame, mildly allergic to soy, and coconut. So I have to be really careful about what I cook, and the way that I'm meal prepping is having things that I can just throw together, but not having it all mixed up together, so that I can throw together this for me, add some of those ingredients and a few extra ingredients for my son, and a few of those ingredients and extra ingredients or extra quantities for my husband. I feel that's the best and easiest way to do cooking when you're trying to also look after your own food plan. These carrots might look a bit skanky, but they're organic and they're cheaper to get them as juicing carrots, and most of them are just broken. And anything that kind of grows in the ground, I try and get organic. That's all done. I just splash a tiny little bit of filtered water over them. I pop the lid on and put them in the fridge. It keeps them fresh and that stops them drying out. Let's go out in the garden and get some parsley and spring onion for the dip. Let's go. Just a little interruption to the normal program. While I was outside, I discovered that the Daphne is starting to flower. It is my favorite scent in the entire world. It's late winter here and you have to smell it with me. Look. Here. See it? Oh, I wish I had smell-o-vision for you. It also reminds me so much of my nan. Used to grow near her front door. Anyway, back to meal prep. Now I have a very ancient Thermomix. I brought it when I was pregnant with my youngest son, who is now 15. But you don't need a Thermomix. You could use any kind of food processor. Just thought I'd say that. There's nothing special about what I'm doing. I'm just woozing everything up together. Okay, first thing is tuna. You can use any tuna. I just either use tuna in spring water or olive oil, not that other crappy oil. I'm going to drain it from the oil and pop it in. Next up, I'm popping in a whole drain can of cannellini beans. I think sometimes people call them white beans. I kind of get really blown up with legumes, and it's only the white ones that don't seem to upset my tummy. So that's why I always use cannellini beans. I don't even bother chopping the parsley. I just take those stalks off and about a handful, chuck it in. Just roughly chop my spring onion, popping that in. Some salt. I use Celtic sea salt because it's got lots of good minerals in it. And freshly ground pepper. I have to get right down here. Let me just tip you up for a minute. So I'm not going to add any more oil because there's oil in my can of tuna, but I suggest if you're using tuna in spring water, add a little bit of olive oil. Have a little taste. Perfect. Bon appetit. Don't you just love the look of kale? Sometimes I think we should put it in a vase. So because we have eggs and kale in the morning, that's the kind of stock standard meal that we have on a weekday. I'm going to chop some of this up and put it in a container with a splash of filtered water to save time in the morning. I've chopped up the kale. That's going to go in the fridge with a little bit of water, but I wanted to say how I cook it. So with my eggs, I just scramble them with salt and pepper and fry them. With the kale, I saute that. My preference would be to use coconut oil or ghee, but seeing as my son doesn't like ghee and is allergic to coconut, I have to do it in olive oil unless I'm just making it for myself. Before I put it in, I saute a clove of garlic and then I add the kale. But this is just really an excuse for me to show you, I grew this garlic. And I've grown garlic, my own, for the entire year for probably the last 7 or 8 years. It's something I'm really proud of, but seeing as we've just moved into a smaller property, I haven't planted it this year. So I'm kind of a little bit sad that I won't be growing my own garlic anymore. But I have a great producer at our local farmers market who does organic garlic, so I'll be okay. So breakfast is sorted. Essentially, I'm going to have eggs and kale most mornings, and if I don't, I'll have a protein shake, or I might take the boiled eggs and the crudities, and maybe even a little bit of that bean and tuna dip. Lunch, if I have my eggs for brekkie, then I'm going to have a protein shake, or the tuna and bean dip, or that yogurt dish I showed you with the berries and the seeds and the cacao nibs. If you want to know what I put in my protein shake, go back to my previous video, A Day in the Life of a Midlifer, and I actually make my protein shake in there. It's got lots of goodies in it. It's got collagen, it's got creatine, all sorts of things. Go and have a look at it there. Also, another option, my husband actually discovered this and I'm so happy. I'm sure you'll have something equivalent where you live. It's just actually free-range smoked chicken breast that's already cooked. So I can just chop that up with a bunch of salad, put whatever dressing I like on it, and just have a chicken salad. It's actually late winter here, so if I want something warm, I'm just gonna heat up some chicken broth, add the chicken and some veggies, and that'll be my lunch also. Remy was very, very upset last week that he wasn't in the video. Weren't you, Rem? Were you upset? So here he is, making sure he has at least one appearance in every video. Let's talk dinners, shall we? So I try and make dinners that can go for at least 2 nights. Now, if I showed you how to make this in the entirety, this video would be very long. But I will put the recipe, this is my own recipe, but I'm sure there's similar ones out there. I'll put it in the comments below. It's what I call my French chicken and potato casserole. So in it is chicken thighs. I've cut the excess fat off. It starts with garlic, onion, carrots, celery, the standard thing, saute them down till they're soft. Then add in the bite-sized pieces of chicken thigh, saute that, deglaze the pan with white wine vinegar, then add in chicken stock, chopped up potatoes. I actually had a bit of leftover zucchini that I put in. What else? I think that's all. And then I just let it cook until the potatoes are cooked. And then I add in a handful of parsley at the end, salt and pepper. And then to thicken up the sauce, so I actually thicken it with tapioca or arrowroot powder. Just sprinkle a little bit on the top, stir it, wait and see if it thickens, sprinkle a little bit more until it's the thickness that I want. Everyone in my family does better without gluten, so that's why we use that. You could use corn flour if you wanted to. And then serve. I also made some bolognese. If you want that recipe too, just comment or send me a message and I'll type it up. It's a little bit different all the time depending on what ingredients I have. But I make that also last at least 2 nights. So that's 4 out of 5 weeknights done. Talking about different things for different family members. So with the chicken casserole, I just make sure I put a little bit less of the potato on my plate. And then my husband and son have a little bit more in portion also. My eldest son, he's in Melbourne at uni, so that's why I'm not cooking for him. The bolognese, I make a gluten-free pasta for my youngest son to have with it. And my husband and I just have the bolognese with a salad on the side. So that's 4 nights done. The next 3 nights, let's do that. Friday nights in our household is chillax night. We don't cook. It's the only night of the week. Sometimes we flip it to Saturday night, but most of the times it's Friday night. We just have a little snicky snacky platter. I am the platter queen. Whenever there's a party and we have to bring a plate, that's what I'm always asked to bring, is one of my platters. So we have a platter. It's still really high in protein. We don't have a lot of crackers or anything with it. It's really just meat and cheese, pickles and olives, and a sneaky glass of red wine or 2. It's the only night of the week that we drink because we all know it's not really the best thing to be putting in your body, but sometimes it's really, really nice. On the weekends, I don't meal prep for dinner so much because sometimes we're out and I don't like food to go to waste. This weekend we're having grilled salmon with a salad, and I found this keto Caesar dressing that works really well with fish also. I'm not necessarily doing keto, but I am watching my carbs. It's made with avocado oil and it is delish. Sunday nights we like to have something hearty, so grilled vegetables and a piece of steak really sets us up for the week ahead. And that is it. So here's what I have to choose from for the next 7 days. Some things in breakfast and lunch I interchange, and dinner I've kept it really basic because it doesn't need to be complicated. I hope this helps, and if you pause it here, you can take note. Do a food prep video, they said. It's easy, they said. The carnage. Oh man, who wants to help me clean it up?